Hello friends, in this session I am going to start the discussion on internal security threats and challenges in the northeastern part of India. I am going to tell you what is the current state of internal security in the northeastern part of India and what all can be the future strategy to bring peace, restore peace in the northeastern part of India. So our discussion will start with diverse and complex nature internal security threats which are in the northeastern part of India. Okay. So first thing first, we are going to start the discussion on internal security threats and challenges in the northeastern part of India. Now whenever we are saying, whenever we are using the word northeast, there are 8 Indian states which constitutes the northeastern part of India, 8 Indian states. Okay. So many have this confusion that northeast only includes 7 sisters of northeast. No, even Sikkim is part of northeast. I would just like you all to see in the map. So whenever we are saying northeast, this Sikkim is part of it, and of course Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura. These are the 8 Indian states in the northeastern part of the country which constitute a different region within the country, that is northeast. So I would just like you all to remember this, that whenever we are using the word northeast, 8 Indian states, 8 Indian states constitutes northeast, and these states are Sikkim, then Assam, then Arunachal Pradesh, then Nagaland, then Manipur, then Mizoram, Tripura, and then Meghalaya. So these 8 Indian states together constitutes the northeastern part of India. And let me give you some facts, right? Let me give you some facts. These northeastern part of India, right? These northeastern part of India basically constitutes 8% of the geographical area of India, the northeastern part of India, these 8% of geographical area in the northeast, 8% of geographical area is there, okay, and then it constitutes 4% of national population, okay, and all northeastern states shares international boundary with neighboring countries. All northeastern states are sharing international boundary, okay. Northeastern states are sharing 5,484 kilometers of international border, with Bangladesh, with Bangladesh. All these are very important, right? With Bangladesh, then with Myanmar, with China, with Bhutan, and even with Nepal. Okay. So these northeastern states, right, these northeastern states are sharing international border with neighboring countries and Bangladesh, Myanmar, China, Bhutan. Okay. So 8 states are there. I would just like you all to remember that there is a separate ministry in Government of India, Ministry of DONAR, Development of Northeastern Region, and 8 states falls within the jurisdiction of this very region specific ministry in Government of India, which is Ministry of Development of Northeastern Region. And this ministry is basically a coordinating ministry. Okay, so it has to coordinate between states and center and between states. So interstate coordination and center state coordination, so that the developmental projects can be implemented on ground effectively, efficiently, at an accelerated pace. Okay, so we have a separate ministry within Government of India, and it is one of its own kind in the world. Rarely we will see a ministry for region specific and a coordinating ministry. So under the jurisdiction of DONAR, 8, right, under the jurisdiction of DONAR, 8 Indian states are there, 7 sisters of Northeast, and maybe 1 brother Sikkim. Okay, on lighter note, but 8 Indian states are there, 8% geographical area of India, 4% of national population, and all the northeastern states shares international boundary with neighboring countries, and 5,484 kilometer long international borders northeastern states are sharing with the neighboring countries. So this is something very basic about northeastern part of India. And one thing which I would just like you all to remember, which is something very satisfying for us to learn, that security situation, the security situation in northeastern states has improved substantially since 2013. Now this is something which is very satisfying and very enriching, right, for us, that since 2013, year on year, we are seeing betterment in the security situation. Violence incidents are less these days. Underground movements are, less. Bloodshed, the intensity of bloodshed has gone down. Okay, so the security situation in the Northeast has improved substantially since 2013. But what I would just like you all to remember, that even though the security situation has improved substantially, but interplay, and this is something highly conceptual in nature, interplay of geographical factor, geographical factors, historical factors, political factors, ethnic or cultural factors, geopolitical factors, socio-economic factors, have given birth to, right, interplay, have given birth to factors, right, have given birth to highly complex and diverse nature internal security threats. These have given birth to highly complex and diverse nature internal security threats in the region. Internal security threats or challenges in the region. Okay. So the threats which we are seeing in the region, they are highly complex and very diverse nature threats are there. Very different types of threats are there. And the internal security threats and the challenges which we are seeing in this region, for those threats as well as for challenges, historical factors, geographical factors, political factors, socio-economic factors, cultural, particularly ethnic, within culture, factors are responsible. Interplay of them. So this is something which you need to remember, that despite the fact that there is a substantial improvement in the security situation in the Northeast since 2013, even today, northeastern part of India is facing diverse and complex nature internal security threats, and the threats which are there are on account of geographical, historical, political, socio-economic, cultural, geopolitical factors. We will see one by one that how geography is responsible, how history is responsible, how culture is responsible, how politics is responsible, how socio-economic conditions of the region are responsible for diverse and complex nature internal security threats. But when I am saying diverse and complex nature internal security threats, one threat which is there is insurgency. So one of the biggest internal security threat in the region is insurgency. I have already explained you the meaning of word insurgency. This word insurgency has originated from English word insurge. Okay, English word insurge. And the meaning of insurge is to rise up. To rise up. And what is the meaning of insurgency? When a group of people, local people, will declare themselves as a rebel group and will say that they don't have belief in the constitution of that country, and they will indulge themselves in underground activities or movements to rewrite a new constitution and put in place a new politico-administrative structure, then this is what is termed as insurgency. Okay, so whenever Some people will form a group, that group will declare itself a rebel group, and that rebel group will make a open declaration that they don't have faith in the constitution, the constitution is not acceptable to them, and then that rebel group will say that we will rewrite our own constitution and we will put in place a new politico-administrative structure. Many a times they are talking about liberating that part from the country. So such group is known as insurgent group. That rebel group is known as insurgent group, and this whole phenomena is termed as insurgency. And I would just like you to remember that insurgency is a big problem in the northeastern part of India. Not me, but this is what Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India has to say, that many insurgent outfits are operating on northeastern soil of India, and these insurgent outfits are big as well as small in number, right? Big insurgent outfits, meaning what? Large number of armed cadres are there. They have offices at multiple places, big organization. And some very small, 10, 12 people, 15 people, they have constituted that rebel group. So insurgency is a big internal security threat in the northeastern part of India. Okay, we are going to discuss in detail, but some of the insurgent groups, if we see, right, one of the deadliest rebel group of India is NSCN, National Socialist Council of Nagaland. Okay, so National Socialist Council of Nagaland. And there are different factions, right? There are different factions of this insurgent group. Okay, the different factions, if we see factions, if we see different factions of this insurgent group, then one is NSCN IM. Okay, NSCN IM. We are going to talk in detail about this NSCN IM. Okay, another is NSCN K. Okay, the third is NSCN R. The fourth is NSCN KK. So these are different factions. Okay, these are different factions of NSCN, right? Of NSCN. But you know, this NSCN IM is Isaac, right? Miwa, Isaac Miwa. Okay, K is Khaplang, right? K is Khaplang faction. K is Khaplang. R is Reformation. R is Reformation. Okay, and KK is Konyak Kitovi. Konyak Kitovi. Okay, but we are more concerned about these two, Isaac Miwa Group, this NSCN, IM, Isaac Chisisu was the chairman of this faction. He died recently. Tonglang Miwa, general secretary and the military commander of this faction. This NSCN Khaplang is headed by SS Khaplang. Okay, reformation is pro-tox, we will see. Konyak and Kitovi, again named after the two prominent leaders. Okay, but NSCN, and this NSCN is one of the oldest and one of the deadliest rebel group operating on northeastern soil. We will have a discussion, right, about them in detail. But this is what you should remember, that many insurgent groups are operating. One is NSCN. Then other than NSCN, right, other than these factions of NSCN, in Assam, and we will be talking about the framework agreement which has been signed between Government of India and NSCN, IM, and Government of Nagaland now is a party to it. Okay, framework agreement, we will be talking about that. Everything we will be talking, but just right now, we are trying to understand that the internal security threats of Northeast are diverse and complex in nature, and one of the threat is insurgency. In addition to different factions of NSCN, right, we have NDFB. This NDFB is National Democratic Front of Bodoland, National Democratic Front of Bodoland, NDFB. And again, NDFB, different factions are there. One is NDFB, right? One is NDFB P, progressive. Another is NDFB RD. Okay. And the third is NDFB S. Okay, NDFB S. So NDFB RD is, right, NDFB RD is Ranjan Dimeri. Okay, he is the leader, Ranjan Dimeri. Okay. NDFBP is progressive. They are calling themselves progressive. And when it comes to, right, NDFBS is Saurai Gwar. Saurai Gwar. Okay, again, B. Saurai Gwar is the leader. Okay, so NDFB. It's again a very, you can say, a deadly rebel group, primarily active in Lower Assam, in the Bodoland region. Okay, so we will have a discussion about Bodoland problem because some recent developments are there. So we will be talking, but different factions of NDFB in Assam and in adjoining areas is a, insurgent outfit which is operating. Then we also have, right, we also have ULFA in Assam, ULFA, United Liberation Front of Assam, ULFA, United Liberation Front of Assam, ULFA, and within ULFA also, right, we have ULFA I, that is independent, right, ULFA I, and then ULFA pro-tox, right. So one is ULFA I, independent, and another is ULFA pro-tox, which is favoring peace talk with Government of India. But ULFA is another deadly rebel group and insurgent group, I can say. of Northeast, right, of Northeast. Then in addition to this, right, in addition to this, in Assam we also have in one region specific KLNLF, okay, that is Karbi Longri, Karbi Longri, North Kachar NC, North Kachar Hills Liberation Fronts, North Kachar Hills Liberation Front, okay, Hills Liberation Front. In addition to this, right, in addition to this, we also have KPLT in Assam, KPLT, that is Karbi People Liberation Tigers, Karbi People Liberation Tigers, okay, Tigers. All these are in Assam, right, all these are in Assam. Now, in addition to Assam, in Meghalaya, we have rebel group in the name of GNLA, GNLA, that is Garo National Liberation Army, okay, Garo National Liberation Army in Assam, in the Garo Hills, okay. Then another one is HNLC. Almost a year before, HNLC has been declared as unlawful organization under UAPA, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. So this is HNITRAP, right? HNITRAP, HYNNIEW, TRAP, National Liberation Council, National Liberation Council. Now, as far as HNLC is concerned, it is a Khasi militant group, whereas GNLA, Garo National Liberation Army, is a Garo militant group, right? Garo militant group. Now, in addition to this, these are the two in primarily in Meghalaya. In Tripura, right? In Tripura, we have NLFT, that is National Liberation Front of Tripura, National Liberation Front of Tripura, okay, Tripura, and we also have All Tripura Tiger Force, ATTF, All Tripura Tiger Force, All Tripura Tiger Force. This NLFT, National Liberation Front of Tripura, it is, headed by Vishwa Mohan. So there is a faction called Vishwa Mohan. When it comes to Manipur, in the state of Manipur, we have NSCN, IM, NSCN, Khaplang. But in addition to NSCN, IM, NSCN, Khaplang, and some other, terrorist group, it is, the state of Manipur is perhaps the worst insurgency-ridden state, insurgency-affected state of the Northeast. And you will find insurgent outfits, if you will find that these insurgent groups are associated with different ethnic group of Manipur, which includes Maite, then Naga, then Kuki, right, Kuki, Zomi. Small groups are there, Hamar, Okay. Then even Muslim underground outfits, Muslim underground outfits, and of course in the state of Manipur we have NSCN. In addition to NSCN, IM and Khaplang, there are small big insurgent groups, and they are affiliated with, they are attached and associated with different ethnic groups, and they are claiming themselves to be the flag bearer of that community, that ethnic group, and they are indulging underground activities. So many insurgent outfits are operating on northeastern soil. Insurgency is a big threat to internal security of Northeast. Okay, big threat to the internal security of the country. And I would just like you all, these insurgent groups, what they are demanding, in some of them are demanding liberation of that part which is inhabited by the community which they belong to. So they are asking to liberate. Okay, they are asking to liberate. Some of them, they are not asking to liberate, but they are saying that give statehood within the country, separate status should be given within the country. Some of them are asking, right, that autonomous region should be declared. Some of them are demanding that there must be some different political administrative arrangements to protect their rights, to protect their culture, to protect their identity. Some are demanding more say on economic resources. Okay, some of them are. So different insurgent outfits have different demands. And right now, the approach of Government of India and the respective state governments towards these insurgent outfits is, you observe violence, come forward for the talks. Government at center, government of the state is willing to talk with these rebel groups to find a solution to the problem through peace talks, through dialogue, by sign. So with many of these insurgent groups, Government of India has signed, suspension of operation agreement, okay, ceasefire agreement, framework agreement, suspension of operations, SOO agreement, okay, agreement, and some other forms of agreement. But many of them have rejected the call of Government of India and the call of respective state government, and they continue to indulge themselves in underground activities, and they are attacking security forces, they are killing elected representatives, and therefore the government and security forces has no other option than to carry out operations against them and to disarm them. Okay, so that is how insurgency is one big problem in the northeastern part of India, and many insurgent outfits are operating on northeastern soil. Second important problem of that region is ethnic violence. And the intensity of ethnic violence is quite high, right? This is another problem. Intensity of ethnic violence is quite high. You need to understand why so much ethnic violence is there in the northeastern part of India. Now, I would just like you all to remember this, right? Remember this, first thing, because many people don't understand what is ethnicity. Okay, so there are two terms. One is race and second is, right? One is race and the second is ethnicity. Okay, ethnicity. So racial group and ethnic group. Okay, racial group and ethnic group. And I would just like you all to remember this, that race is a narrow term in sociology in comparison with ethnic group, which is a very broad term. Sorry, which is a very broad term. Okay, and it's a categorization of people. Okay, race as well as ethnicity basically is a categorization of people. Now, when we are saying, right, for example, Aryan, Dravidian, Negroid, these are the racial groups. Okay, these are the racial group. So basically, this racial classification is based on physical and biological attributes. Physical and biological attributes. Okay, and primarily we can say, right, primarily we can say that this classification is of humankind is based on distinctive physical trait. Okay, that includes the skin color, height, kind of hair, complexion, eyes, and so many other things. Okay, so racial group, whenever we talk, it is having physical and biological attributes. But when we talk of ethnic group, right, it is based on this classification is based on cultural expression. Okay, so group of people with common culture, common identity, and common ancestry, forefathers, ancestry. Okay, identity. Okay, cultural expression. So whenever we talk of ethnic group, the way in some parts of India we are using the word Gotra, Kul, Kunba, like that. Okay, so in sociology, ethnicity means group of people, a category of people with common culture, common identity, and the most important, common ancestry. But when we talk of racial group, it is a narrow term as far as categorization of humankind is concerned, and that categorization is primarily based on physical and biological attributes, and primarily it is about physical traits. Okay, so when I am using the word ethnic violence, okay, so what you will find once you have some understanding about the difference between racial and ethnic group, in the northeastern, I told you that northeastern part of India constitutes 8% of geographical area of India. Geographical area of India, 8% of geographical area of India. But it constitutes only 4% of national population, northeastern part of India, national population. So very small is the size of population in the northeastern part of India. And within that small size, very high is the ethnic diversity, 200 plus ethnic groups, right, are there. So ethnic diversity is very high. Ethnic diversity is high in the northeast. Okay, ethnic diversity is high in the northeast, and I would just like you all to understand this. Each of these ethnic group, most of the ethnic groups, they are very, very particular about protection of their culture, maintaining their unique identity. Okay, so I would just like you, why that, right? Why that ethnic violence is high? So each ethnic group of Northeast is very particular about protecting distinct culture. They want to protect their distinct culture. They want to protect their unique identity, right? They want to protect their unique identity. Okay, so they want to protect their distinct culture, they want to protect their unique identity, they want to protect their say in decision making. They want to protect their say in decision making. They want to increase their say over economic resources, They want to increase their control, command, say, right, over the economic resources. So, because they want to protect their distinct culture, they want to maintain their unique identity, they want greater political say, they want greater control and command over the limited economic resources which are there in the region. This has given birth to ethnic conflicts. And friends, I would like you all to remember, unfortunately, Northeast is flooded with illegal small weapons. So, weapons made in China, made in Southeast Asian countries, in large number illegally have entered Indian territory through porous international borders, and the entire Northeast has, large number of illegal weapons. Okay, so illegal weapons. Particularly small arms, right? Very large in number is there in northeastern part of India. Okay, and why? Because smuggling, illegal trade is taking place through porous borders with Myanmar, with China, with Bangladesh. And this is the reason why the ethnic conflicts are becoming very bloody in nature. On small things, people will take out weapon and will fire. Okay, so you need to have this understanding that ethnic violence is one big internal security threat of Northeast. Why ethnic violence is high in Northeast, I have explained you, and how these ethnic conflicts are becoming bloody in nature. They are becoming very bloody because of presence of large number of small illegal small arms. Okay, so ethnic violence is very, big internal security problem in the northeastern part of India. In addition to ethnic violence in addition to ethnic violence, in many parts of Northeast we have local, third problem we can say, local migrant conflicts. Okay, so in the northeastern part of India, you will find large number of illegal migrants from Bangladesh, from Myanmar, and they are settled in, right? They are settled in different northeastern states. Okay, similarly, you will even find migrants from other parts of India settled in northeastern states. So people who have migrated from West Bengal, you will find in Assam. People who have migrated from Bihar, Rajasthan, Gujarat, you will find in Assam. People who have migrated from Odisha, you will find in some parts of Northeast. So primarily you will find people from Hindi-speaking states like Bihar, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh. They have migrated and settled for many years, and because local people feel that their presence in the region is the threat to their culture, and they have to share the limited resource of the region with migrants. And some places of Northeast, local people have developed a feel that they have been marginalized in their own homeland. They have become minority in their own homeland because of large number of migrants. So you need to understand, when I am using the word local migrant conflict, it includes illegal migrants from Bangladesh, Myanmar, and other neighboring countries. And it also includes the migrants from other Indian states who are settled in Northeast. So we are finding, local migrant conflict. And the complexity in this internal security threat is that sometimes the conflict is between local and the migrant, but it will appear to rest of India and rest of the world a communal rights. Why? Because local people, they follow different religion, and migrants are following different religion. So primarily, the conflict is local migrant conflict, but will appear, it will acquire a communal color, and it will make the task of government even more difficult to deal with. Okay, so on some occasion, what is happening? The local migrant conflict is acquiring communal color, and that is what is making that internal security problem more complex in nature. But in many parts of the Northeast, we are finding what? Local migrant conflicts. And why? Because local people have developed a feel that because of migrants' presence, their culture is at threat, their unique identity is at threat, they are the reason for misery in their life, they have been marginalized in their own homeland, they have become minority in their own homeland. Okay, and migrants also have a feel that since they have been staying for many years and for generation, the land and the resources belong to them in the same way, the way it belonged to so-called locals. And you will be able to understand the complexity of the problem. The problem is what? We, the people of India, wherever we stay for few years, we develop a sense of belongingness towards the land, towards the people. And 20 years later, 30 years later, when new generation is born on that soil, if somebody will say that you are not a local, you are a migrant, then those people will not accept. So it's highly complex problem. We need to understand the complexity. So local migrant conflicts. And in some parts of Northeast, this local migrant conflict is acquiring communal color and thereby inducing complexity in the whole problem. So that is there. Another big problem in the Northeast related to internal security, right, related with internal security, on the basis of, some local issue and some regional issue, okay. So region specific, okay, issue, we are finding protests. So some local issue will give birth to, right, some local issue will give birth to protest, okay, and that protest will become, right, that protest will become highly, right, that protest will become highly, you can say, violent in nature. Protests, and these protests are becoming highly violent, and protesters, police security forces conflict. Okay, local issues like in Manipur, right, in Manipur, demand for introducing ILP. We will have a separate discussion on this. Inner line permit. People are demanding that ILP, the way it is in Nagaland, the way it is in Mizoram, the way it is in Arunachal, should be introduced for Manipur as well. So demand for introducing ILP, for example. Okay. Similarly, right, similarly, in many parts of Northeast, we are seeing demand, right, demand to withdraw APSPA, Armed Forces Special Power Act. In some states, we are finding, right, protest because university is not conducting exam timely. In some states recently, this is what we saw in the state of Manipur, that there were allegation of corruption against the Vice Chancellor of Imphal University, Imphal Central University, and a violent protest started. Similarly, we saw in Tripura as well, in Agartala University, charges of, corruption against the Vice Chancellor of the university, and protest started. We saw, eruption of violence in Itanagar when there were allegations of, foul play in Arunachal Pradesh, Public Service Commission exam. So local issues. Okay, we will see economic blockades. So local issue, what we see on the basis of local issue, on the basis of, right, on the basis of regional issue, protest will start, protest will turn, right, protest will turn violent. That will lead to conflict between protesters and security forces. Security forces will have to use force to bring an end to the protest, to restore peace in the region. So many a times we see curfew, many a times we see Section 144 imposed, and that is very adversely impacting the normal life in the region. Okay, so this is again a problem, disturbance on local issues. So this is an internal security threat. In addition to this, right, in addition to this, we are also finding another, drug trafficking, right, drug trafficking, then a smuggling, right, a smuggling, then illegal trade, right? And all these things are happening through borders, international borders, right? International borders. Why? Because our border with Myanmar, our border with Bangladesh, even our border with Bhutan at many places is open, porous, and the border situation being exploited by criminals, insurgent outfits, anti-national groups, and they are indulging in smuggling, drug trafficking, illegal trade. I would just like you all to know this. Okay, see, these three countries, right? These three countries, if you see, I would just like you all to remember this. In the, yes, so can you see this? Myanmar, Thailand, and Laos. These three countries constitute golden triangle. Okay, all of you should remember this. Myanmar, Thailand, and Laos, the three Southeast Asian countries constitute golden triangle. And this golden triangle is infamous for illicit cultivation of opium. Okay, illicit cultivation of opium. And because of this, drugs are, prepared in large quantity in this region. And then, since we share long boundary with Myanmar, and this boundary is through mountainous region, through forested region, lack of proper demarcation at places. So illegally, the drugs are entering into Indian territory. Drug trafficking. And not only drug trafficking, but illegal trade of weapons, smuggling, perfume, leather goods, garments, alcohol, and so many other things. Chinese electronic items are entering large in number through this border illegally. Okay, illegally. And this is the reason why, right, why these are a threat to internal security. Money earned through these activities is the source of terror funding. So insurgent outfits are getting money to sponsor their underground activities because of, because through drug trafficking they are earning money, through smuggling they are earning money, through illegal trade they are earning money, and they also have weapons. So they are also involved in extortion. The complexity is, since there are security problems in Northeast, so center is sending money to accelerate the pace of development. But unfortunately, some part of that money which center is sending in the name of accelerating the pace of development in the region, because of corrupt, contaminated system, it is reaching in the hand of insurgent groups. And insurgent groups are involved even in extortion. They are forcefully collecting money from local people and from outsiders who are there in the region for business purpose or for trade purpose or for performance of their official duties. So you need to understand this, that the internal security threats and challenges of Northeast are diverse and complex in nature. And which are the important internal security threats? One is insurgency. Second is ethnic violence. Third is conflict between local and migrants. Fourth is on small regional and local issues, protests starts and soon the protests turn violent and thereafter conflict between protesters and security forces and police forces, and that leads to disturbance in the area for many days, which has adverse impact on normal life. And then I told you drug trafficking, smuggling, illegal trade through international borders. So these are the diverse and complex nature internal security threats in the northeastern part of India, and these threats are basically because of interplay of historical, geographical, political, cultural, ethnic, socio-economic, geopolitical factors. So this is all about the diverse and the complex nature internal security threats in the northeastern part of India.